Looking like a little raccoon. A little raccoon. And lastly, we have 2 lip pimple. I hope I'm not gonna have to redo this. So we're just gonna go ahead and hop right into it. I do wanna go over each item that comes in the collection. There are a total of 12 pieces launching on June 21st. Now we have 4 lip glosses, 4 lipsticks, 2 lip liners, 1 bronzer, and 1 eyeshadow palette, which honestly I'm very, very excited about. I do want to touch on the packaging for a second. Like, this is the eyeshadow quad that they came out with. I think it is beautiful. It has her signature on it. It says AALIYAH, it says MAC. It looks super duper luxurious. This is the eyeshadow quad. This right here is the bronzing powder. Like, look how beautiful. I feel like they really took their time with this collection to make it super eye-catching and beautiful. So if you do want to get this just for the sake that it is AALIYAH and get it as a collectible, I say go for it. It looks amazing. Like, look at the lipsticks. Like, what? These are the lip glosses right here. They are just stunning. Alongside the packaging, I do want to get into each individual product. So I'm going to start off with the eyeshadow palette. This is what she looks like. This is the packaging. It is called Age Ain't Nothing, and it is a 9-pan eyeshadow palette. The eyeshadows in the palette are relatively small, which I think is okay. I feel like they did that so that way they can fit more eyeshadows in the square packaging. I feel like when we see square packaging like this, we are accustomed to the quad, so the shadows are relatively bigger. So this retails for $32 US dollars and $42 Canadian dollars. Next up, we have a bronzing powder called Baby Girl, and it is so beautiful. It's kind of like a pure golden with soft pearls in it. This retails for $27 US dollars and 33 Canadian dollars. In this collection, they also came out with 4 different lipsticks, which I think is amazing. The very first one they came out with is called Try Again. This is a beautiful soft muted beige, and it is a matte lipstick. They also came out with Hot Like, which is a creamy fire red, and this is an amplified finish. Then we have More Than a Woman, which is a little bit more of a deeper shade that we are used to seeing AALIYAH wear. This is a cool deep red, and it is also an amplified finish. And lastly, we have Street Thing, which is a pure black with shimmer flex in it. It is a frost formula. I personally don't get down with frost formulas from MAC, but that's just me. We also have 4 lip glosses from MAC. Now, I will say lip glosses from MAC aren't my personal favorite. I do feel like they are sticky in consistency, and I just can't get down with a sticky gloss. But if you guys do like MAC lip glosses, I'm gonna go over these individually. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is Brooklyn Born, which is a beautiful nude with pearl. Then we have Lily's Motor City, which is a coral with shimmer. We have a warm berry shade called At Your Best You Are. And lastly, we have One in a Million, which is a deep, rich purple. Each one of these lip glosses do retail for $17 US dollars or 21 Canadian dollars. And lastly, we have 2 lip pencils. The very first one is Nevermore, which is a pure black. And then we have Follow Your Heart, which is described as an intense violet purple. Honestly, this looks red to me, but we're just gonna go ahead and go with it. Each one of these do retail for $17.50 US dollars or 22 Canadian dollars. Alright guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work on the eyes. I will be using the Age Ain't Nothing eyeshadow palette, and what I'm actually going to do is I am going to use a little bit of my collab Set the Stage Ultra Fine Loose Powder directly underneath my eyes, because as you can see, my foundation is already done and I don't want any fallout to mess up my base. So I'm going to use a little bit of this. I actually just picked up a new one of these because I was completely out. So I'm just gonna prime my eyelids with a little bit of my Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Now I did do this earlier when I was doing my foundation, but I do kind of want a fresh sticky layer of that concealer down, just so that way the eyeshadows have something sticky to stick to. Alright, so the first shade I'm gonna go in with from the quad is one in the very center. This one is called That Somebody. It's a really beautiful cool tone light brown shade. So I'm gonna take that into my crease on a Morphe M441 brush, which is a long haired brush. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work this right here towards the outer corner in tapping motions, and then I'm going to continue to blend until there's really no product left on my brush. And I'm really trying to keep it right here towards the outer V. Whatever's left on the brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and sweep it into the crease. I'm gonna add a little bit more towards this outer V area. Open up my eye so I could really get it inside the crease and just kind of rock it in the socket. Then once I have all the product blended off my brush, I'm gonna repeat the same step and buff it inwards. Honestly, this is a very, very light shade, which is great because you guys know I like to go in with lighter shades in my crease. It's actually one of the lightest shades in the palette. If you guys take a look, that's somebody right there compared to this one, which is called Princess of Soul, is a lot lighter. So I'm actually thinking I'm gonna go for a deep smoky eye for this look. All right, so now that that's done, I'm gonna go in with an eye shading E55 by Sigma, and I'm gonna pick up this brown shade right here called Princess of Soul, and I'm going to pop that directly over top of my entire lid, keeping it below the crease. So you definitely don't want to bring this color up too high. Like I said, I'm probably gonna go for a really intense smoky eye, so do not be alarmed, do not. So once I have the majority of that brown all over the lid, I'm gonna go in with a smaller brush. This is my Morphe M421, and I'm gonna use it to get right in here towards the inner part of the eye without getting product everywhere. You really wanna keep this super low, and you don't wanna take it too high into the inner tear duct because it can tend to make you look really mad. So I'm keeping it right here below the crease. So I'm definitely getting a little bit of fallout from this eyeshadow. Nothing too crazy and nothing I'm too concerned about because as you can see, I did put that powder right there, which is essentially gonna catch that fallout so that way it doesn't stain my base. So now that I have 2 black circles on my eyelids, it's time to get to blending. So I'm gonna use this little precision blending brush that I raved so much about in my last video. It is called the Morphe M507. And what I'm actually gonna do with this is I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that Somebody, which is the lighter tone brown in the palette, and I'm going to just pat it ever so lightly on the edges of the shadow, just so that way I could carefully blend it into the crease without taking it too high. If you need to mix in a little bit more of that deeper brown called Princess of Soul, you are more than welcome to do so. You just want to go in with a little bit of product at a time because it's easier to add product than it is to take away. And if you blend this too high, girl, you're gonna look like you got punched in the eye, and we don't want that. We're trying to avoid that. So I'm carefully patting the edges and just running it back and forth alongside that edge. So now that I've ran this brush alongside the edge, you can see that the edges are starting to get a little bit blurred. Like this side compared to this side, there's definitely a clear difference. Granted, it still is a little bit more of a harsh edge. I'm also noticing that as I continue to buff and blend out these edges, I'm kind of losing some of the shadow right here. As you can see, it does look a little bit patchy. I did want you guys to be aware of that. Now I am going for more of kind of like a blown out smoky eye. So eventually I will end up blowing this out a little bit more, but for right now, I think that looks pretty decent. I'm now gonna go ahead and switch brushes to a Morphe M505, and with nothing on the brush, I'm just gonna go ahead and run it into the crease to help further blend out this deep chocolate brown. I'm gonna add a little bit more of that Somebody to my brush, and I'm going to place it directly above the dark brown. All right, guys, so now that I have that light brown blended directly over top of the dark chocolate brown, I'm gonna go in with an additional shade. I'm gonna take the middle shade from the top row. This one is called Magic More. It's a beautiful mauve plum with a little bit of shimmer. What I'm actually gonna do with this shade is I'm gonna spray it with some Fix Plus and put it directly over top of that brown, because as you can see, that brown went on pretty patchy. Like I definitely was not expecting that. Like it's dark here, but then it's light right there, and the same thing happened in this area right here. So we need to fix that. We need to cover it up. You guys, so I'm definitely having a lot of trouble. It appears like the shade Magic More doesn't want to go over these areas right here that are like really patchy. It's doing something weird. I'm gonna mix Magic More with the shade right next to it, which is that plum shade. And I'm gonna see if I can make something work here. Okay, so it looks like it's going on really nicely, like on my hand. Like, do you guys see that? Not entirely sure why it's giving me issues here. I probably need it to apply a little bit more Fix Plus to my brush. So I'm going to apply a little bit more. I'm gonna pull my eye a little taut, and then I'm just gonna go ahead and brush her on. So I sprayed my brush with a little bit more Fix Plus, and it is going on a little bit better. As you can see, it's nice and opaque now. I am feeling like I need to pack on a lot of this product though, which is a little bit alarming. I'm not sure if it's because I applied that matte brown shade prior to applying the shimmer on top, but it was doing something weird for a second. And I'm getting a lot of fallout. Like I've even gotten it like way down here. I'm taking this shade a little bit into the crease. And as you can see, that adds like really nice shimmer to the lid. It's like subtle shimmer. It's not too intense. It's definitely dark, but as the light reflects it, you can definitely see that there is some kind of shimmer in the shadow. Because if you compare this side to this side's like matte and this side's like not, you know? So I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm now going to go right back into my Morphe M507, and I'm going to pick up a little bit more of that shade right here, and I'm going to rock it into the socket. I'm really just repeating the same steps I did with that matte chocolate brown. And the reason I applied the matte chocolate brown before the shimmer is because I really wanted to create a dark base for the shade to lay on top of. I'm just taking a blending brush at this point, and I'm just going over these edges once again to ensure that they are very nice and blended. I'm gonna go in with the shade at the very bottom called Dance in the Dark right here, and I am going to take that on a Sigma E25 blending brush, and I'm really going to pack this right here towards the outer corner. I'm taking this on the outer V and a little bit into the crease. All right, so now that I'm looking hella dark, hella smoky, I do kind of want to add some dimension to the lid by adding a little bit of this purple shade right here called Care For You. It is so beautiful. So I'm actually going to try to lightly press it directly over top of the lid to kind of create a little bit more dimension and bring back just a little bit more of that color. And I'm only focusing this on the lid, and it just gave you a really soft hint of purple. All right, so we're nice, we're smoky, we have a hint of purple in the look. I think I want to add just a little bit more dimension, so I'm going to go in with this silver shade right here called Love Smoke on that same flat shader brush by Sigma. This is the E55. I'm going to spray my brush with just a little bit of Fix Plus, and I'm going to just dab it onto my hand at first just because I don't want this to be super opaque in color. I'm just going to go ahead and pat her. I feel like the look kind of has like hints of purple and like silver, and I'm not hating it. I originally said I was going to put it in the center, but as you can see, I definitely like put her all over just because it's such a subtle hint of shimmer. I just feel like it gives it a lot more dimension than the purple. All right, so I definitely think that is looking pretty good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to brush away the fallout and all the powder. So I'm going to take a big fluffy brush by Sigma, and I'm just going to do a couple. Whoop. Ooh, yes. So now that all that powder is gone from underneath my eyes, I'm going to go in with this brush right here. This is my Morphe M514, and I'm just going to take her right here towards the outer corner to really just blow out this edge right here, because since the powder was in the way, I wasn't able to fully get in here to connect the upper lid to my lower lash line. So I'm taking whatever is right here on the outer corner, and I'm just dragging it down a little bit. I'm not adding any additional product to my brush. I'm also going to use this brush right here to really help buff out these edges, just so that way everything kind of just blends like a dream. All right, so the next step is to really bring that shadow down on my lower lash line. Just because I saw what happened on my upper lid, I'm actually going to go in with a little bit more powder right here, but not as close to the lash line this time. I'm probably just going to bring her right here, just so that way that shadow does not fall underneath my eyes. So now that I have a little bit of that powder underneath my eyes, I'm going to go in with a flat definer brush by Sigma, and I'm going to pick up a little bit of the shade called Dance in the Dark. I'm going to tap off, and I'm going to place it right here closest to the lash line to really connect the shadow together. And I'm actually going to take this all the way in to the inner corner on the lower lash line. Now you want this color to sit super up close to the lash line, and I'm really packing this color because I want it to be super dark and opaque. After that, I'm going to go go in with the shade called That Somebody, which is the cool tone brown in the palette, and I'm going to take that on a Morphe M321, just a little bit, and this is actually going to help me really buff and blend out that really dark shade right here on the lash line. Now it's okay if you wipe away a little bit of the powder. The reason it was there was just so that way that dark shade would not transfer on to my base. And I'm just really buffing and blending this out. It's important that the lower lash line doesn't look super duper harsh. Like if you were to keep it like this, I just feel like it wouldn't look as nice as it would if it was like completely buffed and smoked out. So you really want to take your time to get it as smoky and sultry as possible. After my lower lash line is completely smoked out, I'm gonna go in with a Morphe M514, and I'm gonna pick up a little bit of the shade Dance in the Dark, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take her right here towards the outer corner and go in small circular motions. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe away this powder. I'm gonna go back into the shade called Love Smoke on a Morphe M507, which is this brush right here. And I'm gonna pick up a little bit of that silver. I'm gonna spray my brush with some MAC Fix Plus, and I'm gonna do the same exact thing I did on my upper lid. I'm just gonna go ahead and glide this right here on the lash line to really just bring the upper and lower lash line together. All right guys, so these are pretty much the eyes. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Baby Girl bronzing powder, which has a little bit of pearl reflex in it, and I'm going to take it on a Morphe M527, and I'm just going to go ahead and brush this directly over top of what I have going on here. I already have like a little bit of bronzer on from earlier when I did my base, but that's all right. I just want to apply a little bit to the base. It does appear to be pretty subtle, and then when it goes on the skin, I can't really see any of the pearls in the powder, which is pretty good because I mean, I'm not a huge fan of very shimmery bronzing powders in the first place. So once that's done, I'm actually going to go in with my own blush and my own highlight, and then we'll work on lips. So since I decided to go with a super dramatic smoky eye look, I am gonna go in with more of a cool tone nude lip. I'm gonna use this shade right here called Try Again. I think it's gonna complement the look really nicely. So I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this on. Honestly, if you like cool tone nudes, I think you're really gonna like this. I do want to note that this is a matte lipstick, but it's a comfortable matte. It's not one of those mattes that's like super duper over drying, something like MAC Ruby Woo. Like I can't wear that lipstick even though it's insanely beautiful. It's just like super matte, but this is more of like that comfortable matte, which I'm definitely feeling. I'm gonna top off with a gloss. I'm gonna use this. This is Lily's Motor City. I'm gonna pop this on directly over top. I'm not sure if MAC changed their lip gloss formula, but the last time I tried them, they were extremely sticky on the lips, but they're definitely not. They feel super duper moisturizing, which I'm all here for. And this, you guys, is the completed AALIYAH X MAC look. Actually, I think I need to change it up a little bit. And just like that, you guys, this is the completed look. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I will say when I first started doing the look, I ran into a lot of issues. The very dark chocolate brown was very patchy going on. And then the very center shade right here, oh my God, like it would not go on up until I applied a little bit of MAC Fix Plus. As you guys know, Fix Plus does have glycerin in it, so it makes it very easy for products to stick where you want them, which is why I do spray my brushes when I'm using like shimmers and things like that. So after applying the Fix Plus, things were just like easy on the lids. But I will say as a whole, I'm not a huge fan of the collection. I know, don't kill me, all the AALIYAH fans out there are probably quaking, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm not a huge fan of cool tones. While I do think the shades are really pretty, it's just not something I would personally get use out of. If you guys are into AALIYAH and you guys are diehard fans of AALIYAH, I definitely say pick it up. I think it will be an amazing collectible item to have in your makeup collection. I did want to also give you guys some recommendations from the collection in the event that you guys want to pick up just a few different items. The very first one would be the lip combo I have on right now. I'm wearing the MAC X AALIYAH lipstick in the shade Try Again, and I'm also wearing Lily's Motor City, which is that coral toned gloss. Together, it makes a very warm tone, glossy lip, which I like, and on its own, Try Again is a really beautiful, cool tone nude. I also recommend the lip pencil in the shade Follow Your Heart. It says on the MAC papers that it is in ultraviolet purple, but this is red. Like, this is a red lip liner. I like to pair it with this lipstick. This one is in the shade Hot Like, and this is such a beautiful red. Like, do you guys see how stunning? It does have a sheen to it, which I really like. You guys know I'm really into glossy lips over matte lips, so that's why I really like this lipstick in Hot Like. And those are pretty much all the products I would recommend from the collection. Obviously the lip products, hello, who would I be? With that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that little bell so that you guys are notified anytime I upload, which is every Tuesday and Thursday, 2 times a week, every single week. And until next time, I'll be sure to catch you guys all on the next one. Deuces. Pick yourself up and try again, try again.